Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to teach you how to make the foam muscle facade that I've been working on. As you can see here, I've got the pattern already traced out on the foam. Shoot the pencil or pen, whatever will show up for you. And here I've got the chest and the shoulder straps all laid out. And here I'm cutting an angled cut under the chest piece right there, so that way whenever I cut the other piece, it'll be at an angle and kind of stick out, be that three-dimensional look. Make sure you keep your blade sharp so it cuts the foam real nice and easy. And here I'm actually cutting an angle on the center of the chest piece, so when I glue the other piece to it, it has that caved in center to give that extra three-dimensional look, that curved look to it almost. And testing the angle of it, make sure I did it right. And here's the bottom pieces I was talking about earlier. But this is the piece that will go on the bottom of the top of the chest. That makes sense. You'll cut it straight so that way it has that angle to it. You don't want too sharp of an angle, but it gives that nice 45-degree angle, so it just kind of curves in. But on the bottom of these, I cut it at an outward angle, so that way when I glue it to the abdominal piece, it'll stick out, so the chest will be more protruding out than flat. If you look closely, you can see how I've got the angle cut on those on the bottom part. Set those off to the side and start working on using the undercuts technique, which is where you'll just cut halfway through the foam. I'm using 4 millimeter thick foam from TNT Cosplay Supply, which is smooth on both sides. I always start with down the center. You don't want to cut all the way through. You just want to make sure you get about halfway through. Just cut all the way through, then it's not gonna. I mean, it'll be usable, but it won't be quite. It won't look as good. You'll have a seam there. Just go ahead and cut it halfway through. Just trace all the lines. Make sure to keep your blades sharp. On this one, the upper part of this, I actually used a V-cut because I want those to be angled. And later on I'll put contact cement in those and glue them together so it's not pushing out, but it's kind of coming in. Kind of hard to explain. You just cut out the little V and have a little groove right there. As you can see, once you start getting halfway cut and you start folding it, you can already see the muscle lines start to form on the opposite side. Now we're going to start applying some heat. And as you apply the heat, the lines will actually expand, kind of like magic. It's crazy. Just want to heat up the whole thing, get the cut lines all spread apart. And then once you go to forming the muscles, you'll apply a little more heat in a more precise area. Just get the whole thing heated up first. camera's not exactly the best quality, and I've got this sped up, so it's a little jumpy, but you can see most of the process. Here, I'll start heating the opposite side, the outside. And as you heat this side, you can see the muscles start to form even without having to push out on them. They're starting to kind of show up. A little bit more of that foam magic. Flip it back over, get a little more heat. There, you can see the muscles start to form. Now we're going to apply some heat directly on some specific muscles and start getting them pushed out so they're really defined. And here, some people use something to just kind of roll it across. I don't have anything like that, so I just basically do a little bit of a pinching and pulling and pushing. But you don't want to push too hard because you will rip the foam where you've cut. So you want to do it at just that right strength amount, I guess you could say, to where you don't bust through, but enough to where you push the foam out to where it sticks out. And it takes some time and a lot of practice. Once you get used to it and you can start doing it, you can do it no problem. Sorry, I've got the camera pointed down. You can't see exactly what I'm doing on this side, but there you can see how it's got a little more defined. The camera kind of shaky, kind of sucks, but. And once you get all of the muscles formed, or at least a section of them, what you should do is you start filling those cuts that you did earlier with hot glue. And what this hot glue does is it keeps those lines definitive. And at low temp, hot glue gun works better because it dries faster. And if you'll open the cut more when you do it, you'll get more glue in there and it'll make the lines more defined. As you can see here, I've already done the entire center. And here's the spots I went earlier, putting the contact cement in that top part to get those beveled cuts or beveled angles. It's my daughter screaming in the background. And get all nice, and don't put too much in there, but put a couple of thin layers. Let it dry. And while you let that dry, you can go and heat form some of the other areas so you can get those muscles formed. Kind of a 2-for-1. So you're not just sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting on glue to dry. So heat both sides like I did the upper part. And you can see the muscles start forming a little bit more. And then here's a little bit better view of the pinching and pulling and pushing method that I was talking about. Basically just squeezing the edges of the muscles and pushing them out. So that way it's kind of all protrudes, and you can see there it sticks out and is really nice and definitive. I found that using 4mm works best because it is flexible. It's thin enough that it's flexible. It's thick enough that you can do the undercuts technique on this and you can get some great definition from it. And there's more. You split it, spread the seam open a little bit, and put the glue in there. And here's the glue's dry, so I'm pushing all those together. Give it the good angled look. Another way you can do that technique is, instead of cutting a V shape and putting contact cement in there, is if you've got a hot knife or a soldering iron, that'll work. You can just go along those edges and it actually melts the foam. So while the foam is still hot after you've done that, you can squeeze it together and it'll stick without the glue. And here, my camera died while I was putting the chest piece on, but here it is all together and painted, all done. I've used some lycra, kind of a pleather lycra for the back. It's stretchy. Got some Velcro right there. I use some of that industrial strength Velcro. Holds up to 10 pounds. I just super glued it onto the lycra and the foam. Put 3 strips down, so it's semi-adjustable. You can just add more Velcro to the lycra, and you can see right there it's stretchy. Just add more to it and you can make it even tighter. And here you can see me test fitting it on. It's actually a little bit big on me. This is for a customer. He's larger than me, but that's basically how it looks. I'll paint it up and you can see it's flexible. You can bend down with it and it doesn't crease or anything. It pops right back. Here's a better look at it, better close-up look. As you can see, you have to plasti dipped. Everything holds its shape very, very nicely. Super easy. Undercuts technique can make or break a cosplay. Makes it look wonderful. Alright everybody, that does it for the muscle facade tutorial. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment below. It's my first video tutorial. Sorry for all the background noise and my kids screaming. You can probably hear right now playing. But part of having kids. You guys have a good one.